How's it going, YouTube? So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a power button replacement. I'm going to show you pretty much all the steps, and I'm going to show you how to do this without breaking the back glass. If you need parts, either a back glass or a battery or any of this stuff, check out eTech. 5% off your order. Coupon code ROW2024. So back to the sort of intro. If your back glass is broken, you're pretty much guaranteed to break it even further in the process of doing this, unlike iPhone screens where there is a plastic bezel that you can sort of lift up on and avoid breaking it further. This, like I said, you're pretty much guaranteed. You're also going to have to do a not battery replacement, but you're going to have to pull the battery. In Apple's infinite wisdom, the battery tabs get pulled out from basically the top rather than from the speaker. I don't know why they don't do it from the bottom. It would be so much easier. But yeah, I already have videos showing you basically both of those things. So I guess pause it, watch those videos, then come back here. Yeah. Next, so I'm going to sort of mention ahead of time, once you're at this point, it's really not that much work. There are a couple of screws. You need to pull your camera out, this plate. We then need to use a spudger. We're going to sort of lift up on the board, pull the flex cable out, but I'll show you all of that right now. There's also an orientation with the flex cables, which getting these things back in, to be honest, is far more of a pain in the ass than it is getting them out. But so you may not have one of these if you're outside of the US. In the US, this is our 5G antenna. This thing kind of just pops out. Next, we have 1, 2, and 3 Phillips for the rear camera. And then from here, we have flex 1 and 2. Your camera comes out. It's not a bad idea, depending on how long this repair is going to take you, to put this in a baggie of some sort. The last thing you want is for dust or debris to get on that. Next, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 Phillips. Now our flex is right here, but we're gonna have to pull out basically these 2 screws. Now there is a bit of adhesive underneath, basically on this flex, adhering this flex to the metal portion of the frame. But we're gonna get to that in just a sec. But we're gonna start with basically pulling out this bracket right about here. The bracket clips into, all right, that's why it helps to have curved tweezers. But if you can, basically I just wedged up, but this clips into right here. There is a little bit of adhesive on this part. You can sort of just wedge it in, heat it up, or use some isopropyl alcohol. And then there's also some adhesive here, but it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. So now the next tricky part is basically getting this flex, which goes under the board, then pops out here. There's a little post that the standoff screw sits in. So we need to do a couple of things. Number one, it's not a bad idea to basically, you can sort of either heat this up, just like this, use a little bit more heat or a hair dryer. After that, you want to sort of nudge. I really like using isopropyl alcohol because it basically takes all the strength, it takes all the bite out of the adhesive, and as long as you're using 91 or 99%, you're fine. And if all is well, you should be able to basically just lift this right past, let's see, this little post right here. So, first of all, if you've got this far and you think, hell no, I do mailings. Second, I also buy iPhones. Working, broken, whatever. Even if it looks like this, I'm still interested. Link in the description. Let's make a deal. So I'm going to talk about some quick diagnostics. It's not an uncommon thing for this flex to be fully functional, but the issue to be either dirt or something sticky gets in to the actual button. Sometimes I see it where you drop where the phone basically it falls on its side, dents this actual button, in which case you actually need to replace this piece right here. And in order if it's sticky or if it's dirty, essentially what you're going to do is rotate counterclockwise, pull this out, and then you want to be able to clean with a Q-tip and either some alcohol. Like this is where it's safe to use 70% alcohol. I mean, if you get a Q-tip and you just get a little bit of water, that's not going to be so much to damage your board. I mean, we're talking like just damp. You can then get in, water a little bit of water will tend to clean up like anything sticky better than isopropyl alcohol. And then make sure to do the same to the underside of the button. Once you're there, we're just going to take this. We're then going to press in, because you want these little posts sticking out as far as you can, or basically sticking in as far as you can. And then from here, you should be able to rotate back and forth, rotate counterclockwise. It's really important that you push in, and then you should hear an audible click. And then from here, this should be parallel. So if it's not sticking up at the right angle, basically just undo it and then redo it, and it should look something like that. Depending on what flex you order, you're probably gonna have to sort of bend this in the right order, so like approximately 90 degree here, 90 degree here, but it should look obviously something like this. You're probably gonna get it flat. If you get yours flat, we'll just pretend like mine is brand new. Once again, come back. If there is adhesive on the underside of this, it's not a bad idea to just put a tiny little drop of alcohol. And then once again, you want to get past that little post that I showed you earlier. Now what I'm going to do first is connect. Well, that's my little antenna, so I'm going to connect that. Then I'm going to connect the flex. So now it's in its proper sort of orientation. Next, fold up this side. And then from here, you can sort of do the same. Now I'm going to go as far. I'm then going to put in these two screws. It'll just make it so that you're not fighting the flex when you're trying to seat it on this side. Now this next part is kind of a pain, but basically you just want to make sure that this little, hook ends up right here. So it's almost like you need to, just do that. Sort of roll it on. Now I leave this one, then I tighten this one, then I tighten that one. Make sure that this clicks properly. Obviously you want to know now before you put everything back in, only to find out that something went wrong. Next we have our camera. So you want to make sure that the power flex is right here and that your camera flexes, you know, basically sit to the right. And then this is kind of the annoying one, but we need to get this flex in between the power flex and the two camera flexes. And then you're gonna notice that this flex naturally wants to sit further down. So you sort of need to connect it first. Then we have our bracket. You wanna make sure that this little, I don't know, divot, that little bend sits to the left. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly mention that I put those screws in the wrong place. I put them here, and you're supposed to put it here and here. And I found that out when I was installing this. So, stupid me. We can then install our two standoffs, our 3 screws, 3 Phillips for the camera, and then this bracket, I guess the wider part sits to the right.